Hello, everybody. My name is Janae Miller. I'm a resident of Columbus, Ohio, born and raised here. The day was August 27th. It was a Tuesday. I got up to get ready for my part-time job at the Harmony Project. Went into my bathroom, heard a noise, and thought, what is that? And where is it coming from? And I walked out the bathroom, walked back in, and I didn't have my hearing aids in, but I heard the noise, and I was like, it's not the furnace. What is it? And something said, let's look under the bathroom sink. And lo and behold, there it was. There was water shooting out of the pipe underneath the bathroom sink, and it was shooting out fast. It was shooting out this way. And so I thought, oh God, if it's shooting out here, and that's when I realized that the floor was wet. I knew it was wet when I walked in, so I ran downstairs to the downstairs bathroom, walked in there, and there was water coming in from the ceiling. And I thought, oh God, okay, here we go. And so I said, if it's here and it's upstairs, oh no, the basement. So I ran downstairs to the basement onto the laundry room side, and yes, water was coming down like a flood in the basement. I called my mom and I called my boyfriend and to see who was going to answer the phone at 7 o'clock in the morning. And my mom called back first, and she could hear the water in the background. She said, what happened? I said, there's water running, and it's leaking, and it's been running, and it's all through the house. And so her husband came over, and they saw what they could, because she could hear it over the phone, and she was like, oh gosh. And so they came over, and we went through the whole madness of trying to figure out how to turn it off, where it was coming from. It was a bit haywire for the first 3 hours or so. And after we eventually got the water turned off, I had to sit down and call the insurance company to tell my insurance agent and to file my first ever insurance claim. And by Thursday is when I was told that I had 2 inoperable bathrooms in the house. I had to move into a hotel, and the first hotel I moved into didn't realize that it was way in Worthington. I knew it was, about 15 miles from the house, but I guess I wasn't thinking that deep about the distance in the midst of the fact that I can't stay there because I don't have a working bathroom. So I went to the first hotel, and it was a unique setup where the rooms were in one building, and then you had to walk down a sidewalk to get to the building where the front desk is, which essentially is the pool house. So that's where you go to get breakfast, because they offer free breakfast. You go to check in. Everything, all of that was done in the pool house. My room was on the second floor, but it became a bit much to be all the way up there and for anybody to get to me in an emergency. After being at the first hotel for a week, and the fact that I really realizing at that point, after I kind of started to settle into the reality that I had to live there for who knows how long at that point, that it was too far from my house. So at that point, I came down to Homewood Suites. It was closer to the house. And I was actually happy I made the change because the layout was a lot easier for me to navigate, being blind and hearing impaired. It was really easy. I didn't need to have anybody come in and teach me mobility and orientation, which I was happy about. When I first got there and I explained, why I was there and didn't know how long I would be there, and let them know that I'm blind and I'm hearing impaired, and kind of, I had to kind of think, what things could I tell them up front? One thing I liked is that the hotel manager, when he heard that there was a person staying there that had a disability, he came right upstairs that same day to introduce himself, which I was happy about, and let me know, if I need anything to let him know. And they introduced me to the assistant manager who, for what I was told, she has a visual impairment herself. which was kind of nice to know. Um, I had to really talk to them each day about something different as I got used to being there, whether it was me coming down to the cafeteria for breakfast every morning, or me coming down to the front desk because maybe housekeeping didn't come and clean the room, or I needed something, and having to explain to them, to explain to housekeeping where they should put things in the room so that I know where they are. When I first got there, I did have one small incident that almost dampened me being there, but I got past it. Had an issue with the sink in my room and called for maintenance to come fix it, and he came to fix it. And when he left, first thing I noticed that, after he left, I sat there and kept kind of doing whatever I was doing while he was fixing the sink, and I heard this noise and realized he left his phone. So I had to call the front desk and tell them that he left his phone. And then he came back to get his phone. When he left, I went over to see if he really fixed the sink or not. And I put my hand on the counter, and it was wet. And I thought again, okay, this is just water. And I had no idea until later that he didn't clean up the residue from the cleaning solution he used. And I ended up touching my face, and my face broke out. So I had to deal with a chemical burn. So I had to teach them that if somebody's going to come to the room and clean, they need to clean up the mess too, or fix something. They just can't. They got to wipe up if they use a solution. So that was the first thing I had to teach them. Because I had to go to urgent care because I had a chemical burn. I also learned, it was a reminder of the fact that if I had to, that I could. I hadn't been in a place that wasn't home probably since I was in college. And it's one thing to go to a hotel because you're on a business trip and stay for a couple of days. It's another thing to build your daily life around it day in and day out. So in the midst of me being there those 5 months, I met my first SSP. Her name is Hannah. And Hannah and I were supposed to meet the week that the leak and flood happened at my house. But I rescheduled it for somewhere in mid-September. And so I had her come to the hotel, and that day that she was coming, my mom was visiting, and I asked my mom to stay because I wanted her to meet Hannah and see what she looked like, since naturally I'm blind and I don't know what people look like. And so Hannah came, and she met my mom, and my mom said hi and bye and went about her day. And Hannah and I began our journey of her getting to know me getting to know her, and me having to learn someone new, also while dealing with me living somewhere that wasn't my house. And so Hannah being a SSP for me during this time was really, really helpful for me when your loved ones and family are all working. And even though I have a part-time job, it's only 1 day a week, so there's still days where I may need help with stuff and people work during the day, and I don't work every day. I just work 1 day. And so Hannah, being as a service support person, has been a great help for me in the transition through the months I was there. If I had to go to the house and do something, she was there to assist me, to tell me what's going on, to interpret and to translate for me where necessary. If I needed to get something from the store because I didn't have everything that I needed, because of course I'm not at home, Hannah was there for that. So having that kind of a service for someone like me who's visually impaired and hearing impaired, essentially deafblind, is a big asset. And I'm happy that it happened the way it did, because it helped me to even appreciate the service and her, and even it helped me to deal with the journey of being in a hotel for 5.5 months.